Brandon Aiyuk officially did report the 49ers training camp yesterday. Despite his trade request, he is still seeking a new contract after coming off a huge season. I want you to hear the Niners general manager John Lynch yesterday talking about his team's intentions for Aiyuk. This is what he said.
We fully intend on Brandon being a Niner moving forward. We're always open to listen to things, but like I said, we expect Brandon to be an integral part of our team like he has been, and excited about that.
Now, I don't mean to be that guy.
But you watch, he's about to be that guy, ladies and gentlemen.
Was I the only one who just heard the sound of a door that was a little bit open?
No, close that door. Close it. Do me a favor, close it.
The answer can be, Brandon Aiyuk is a critical part of this team. He's not going anywhere. What else do you want to ask me? That can be the answer to the question. Why does the answer to the question have to include, well, we're always willing to talk about things?
Let me just temper everything down and bring some reason here. John Lynch has literally said the same thing about Brandon Aiyuk. They are not trying to trade him. John Lynch he's not a liar, right? So he's not going to say that, well, we would never do something. He's going to acknowledge, hey, maybe Brandon, maybe something happens with his camp and they're like, hey, we want to go elsewhere. Maybe Brandon tries to force his way out as the season goes on. And Lynch can't sign him to a deal. I don't know. But John Lynch has been very consistent about how we are not moving this guy. We want him to be here. And that's where we stand. Nothing about that made me think, oh, that's new. I've literally heard him say that this whole time.
Yes, we know they want to keep him. They want to win the Super Bowl.
Now,
he is one of their most important players.
Should another team still hear that and give them a call?
Yes.
Absolutely. You better get on the phone, as execs have been.
Yes.
But that does not mean, again, nothing has changed. The phone call's coming.
Mike Tannenbaum said yesterday he would be on the phone with John Lynch and he wouldn't hang up until he figured this out. And it's going to come down to, all right, so CeeDee Lamb is holding out.
Yes.
That's one thing. Brandon Aiyuk has reported. Now, the question is he going to hold in, which is the new thing in the NFL, so you don't get fined.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, if he's on the practice field and he's working with everybody else, then the bottom line is he's decided, I have no leverage here and I'm just going to stay. But he can try and force the issue, Lewis, if he chooses to. What do you make of all this?
Look, I think if you're Brandon right now, I think, look, the hold in is obviously the smart way to go. And if you see the writing on the wall and you don't feel as though another team's going to step up and channel their inner Mike Ditka and give John Lynch your entire draft, then you probably have to say, hey, look, I understand where I'm at in terms of this negotiating process, and I have to go ahead and play by their rules for now and kind of reconvene with this later on. But look, if you're John Lynch, see, this is just the opposite of Dak Prescott. If you're John Lynch, John holds all the cards here. He holds all the cards. And you're right, he did say, if you want him, come talk to me, but it's going to cost you. And if I'm Elliot Wolf up there in New England, I'm going, so what will it cost us? What might it be? Because Drake May sure would like to be able to throw to Brandon Aiyuk. And we have some salary cap space. And we have some draft picks. What you want?
There's one. That's a good one. I like it. And there are other places that it could be considered. And Tim, what I'd like you to put into perspective for us, if you could, because I think a lot of football fans, they see the huge numbers that are put up by other receivers and other offenses. And they're in San Francisco with their incredibly creative running game and the way they distribute it with Kittle and McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. I think a lot of people don't put Brandon Aiyuk on the same level as some of the other top receivers in the NFL. Tim, should they?
Yeah, they should, because when you look at last 2 years, over 70 catches, over 1,000 yards, and you're doing that with all of those other guys you're talking about. It's hard when that's the case. You go somewhere else where you're going to get targeted a ton. Look, Brandon Aiyuk is a guy that, easily 115 catch guy with massive production somewhere else. So, yeah, I think that's the case. And I would just say this, John Lynch, Stanford educated, Hall of Fame player, knows the locker room, been a member of the media, been a GM for a while now. This was not a slip up. It was not a slip up to say, hey, this is going on. Not Lynch's first rodeo on this. And I agree with Lou. If I am New England, talent deficient team around a young star quarterback, get on the phone.
He has said that before, Greeny. He's been very consistent.
A lot of people have said a lot of things. Buzz cut, and then he grew it into the Slim Shady look when he reported yesterday. Dope or nope?
I'm not going to say dope because I love Joe Burrow so much, but this I don't.
I don't get it. I'm very confused. I'm thrown.
And I'm speaking to somebody who loved Eminem once upon a time.
Yeah.
This.
Well, no, look, y'all act like you've never seen a quarterback before. Jaw's all on the floor like Pam and Tommy just bust in the door. I mean, I can't do the rest of the song, but the point is, he is an objectively handsome man. I don't know what he's doing here. He's not playing games with his head.
You know what? If he likes it, I love it. And you know when black people say that, we don't love it.
Fair enough. Okay. We'll see. We got some opinions at work in there. Joe, good luck as you get your season underway. Meanwhile, also we wish good luck to Aaron Rodgers, who showed up at training camp with his own kind of statement. No more summer vacations, no more trips to Egypt, but he's letting you know with that cat on his shirt. He is apologizing to absolutely no one. But he's in Florham Park. Kmart, you were out there yesterday. This is a very depressing sentence I'm about to speak. It has been 317 days since he took those 4 snaps as a New
Not
York
that
Jet.
anyone's counting. Here
So
at
it's 300. Okay, you were there all day yesterday.
Was.
What?
So here's the good news for Jets fans. We did not hear from Aaron Rodgers himself, but I did check in as far as the plan for him this offseason, and I was told there are no restrictions on Aaron Rodgers, even though he's 40 years old, even though he's coming off the Achilles injury. The same plan that they had last year with him, they expect to go through that same plan, preseason, all of that. So that's good news because he is full go and finally healthy, which is a great thing because those guys in that locker room love him to pieces, but love his leadership and standard of excellence.
Explain that. You talked to Garrett Wilson
Yes,
yesterday.
one of my favorite Jets. Okay, so one of the things I talked to Garrett about was just the aura, his word, describing Aaron Rodgers. When he walks in a room, it feels like the standard is raised just by how he walks, how he talks to players. It makes guys like Garrett want, a guy who is a competitor himself, want to be better. A guy like Quinnen Williams, they talk about how it's just him just being next to you, wanting to ask questions of him, wanting to raise their game. And this is a defense. This team has a great defense. If they want to take it a step further, this offense, Garrett Wilson, he's the first Jet receiver since Keyshawn Johnson, our buddy, with back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving plus in back-to-back seasons. That's crazy that Garrett Wilson has already achieved that. And imagine the QB play that he's had.
Yes, he's done it with absolutely horrendous quarterback play.
I didn't want to put it like that.
Well, I mean, I think I'm putting it as kindly as it could possibly be put under the circumstances. So yesterday, I want you to hear Ryan Clark, RC yesterday. He had a good day with us yesterday. Here's what he said about the pressure that exists on Aaron and the Jets right now.
It is now or never. It is do or die. And is he ready for that? Is Aaron Rodgers prepared? Is Aaron Rodgers in a place physically, mentally, and emotionally to get that done? You always mention this scorched earth Aaron Rodgers that you used to love in Green Bay. Do we get that dude this year in New York? So if Aaron Rodgers has that sort of now or never focus, this could be a team that we're talking about atop the AFC East and competing in the playoffs.
Look, Lewis, I mean, he's right. Aaron has been belittled. He's been mocked. He's been made fun of. He's been written off and all that kind of stuff over the last year. Much of it of his own making, things he said, all that kind. I'm not suggesting otherwise. But what I am saying, Lewis, is that the last time that happened, the last time he felt sort of dissed in this way, he went on a scorched earth tour and won back-to-back MVPs. Now he's older and coming off an injury. Do you think he can do it again?
Yeah, look, I mean, he's one of the most talented players to ever lace up a pair of football shoes in the NFL. I mean, that's his standard. His standard is to go out and do things that very, very few people who have ever walked the face of the earth can do. Aaron doesn't look. I don't agree with the whole scorched earth thing because no one's done him wrong. I mean, it's not like somehow Aaron Rodgers is underpaid, underappreciated, under-reported on, under-talked about, absolutely just fawned over for his skills. I mean, all of these things happen to Aaron on a regular basis. The kind of criticism that he gets comes from him doing things that are off the beaten path, that are indicative of him being a very free thinker, an independent thinker and all. And so with that comes some scrutiny. But as far as him being dissed and disrespected, I don't agree. I don't think he's been any of that. As a matter of fact, since I've been at ESPN, we have spent multiple shows talking about just how good he is, and it's all deserved. If he is able to play at that level, physically, mentally, emotionally and sustain it for 17 weeks, sustain it in the playoffs. There's no question. I mean, that's all we've talked about is that's the missing piece. That's the missing piece. That's the piece they need. And for him to have the impact on other players, we talk about that in terms of the three, most important parts of leadership: competency and the ability to really impact others and having credibility. Aaron has all those things. Now it's time for him to go ahead and put it on the football field. And if he does, this team is dangerous.
Tim.
I don't think he's got to throw 48 touchdowns and 5 picks like he did in 2020. Like, I think that's the other thing. So, like, look, that was the, hey, I'm mad. Look what you did. You drafted this quarterback. Like, I'm going off, kind of stretch of his career. I don't think he needs to do that. Look at 2019. He throws 26 touchdowns, throws 4 interceptions. They go 13-3. Like, they're going to have a good defense in New York, a really good defense in New York. And so, and the talent around him is better than it was going to be last year. So, I think we're going to get a really good Aaron Rodgers because everything that Lewis said is true. He's really good. But he doesn't have to be the best he's ever been for the Jets to be a contender. He just doesn't because he does a good job of protecting the football. That's what he's done his entire career. And if you do that with a good defense, you got a shot.